I can make it there. I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
Good morning. Good morning. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. Happy Saturday to all. On today's show, I'm going to be hitting on the game of the century going down at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, Boston Celtics visiting the New York Knicks for a pivotal game 3. Rangers introducing a new coach over the past few days. I am excited about that, hopefully getting their act back in order. And how about the Martian, Jason Dominguez, making Yankees history, becoming the youngest player to hit 3 home runs in a game? We're going to start it there. Taking on the Athletics, 10-2 Yankee victory. And Dominguez pushes away the legendary, iconic, late, great Joe DiMaggio on the Yankees list of youngest players to hit 3 home runs. Ben Rice achieved that feat last season against the Boston Red Sox, but he is older when he achieved that feat than DiMaggio as well as Dominguez. This is actually quite shocking considering that Jason Dominguez has had a mixed bag of success, in part due to various injuries. And coming into yesterday's contest, he only hit 8 home runs for his career, but 3 yesterday, the Yankees cruise. And it was nice to see a game that Will Warren actually looked better in. He looked a little more like the Will Warren of the spring. Checking out my avatar, as you can see, definitely got the 99 2000-ish vibes. That is the last time the New York Knicks had a game this important. In shocking fashion, the Knicks erased multiple 20-point leads over the course of games 1 and 2 in the Boston Garden, and now have an opportunity to really step on the neck of the Boston Celtics as they surge towards hopefully an NBA Finals appearance. And the excitement around this game is something quite frankly, I haven't seen. I would probably have to go back to the 93 season when the Knicks were the 1 seed and won up 2-0 on the Chicago Bulls. Of course, Mike Lupica opened his yap, questioning the GOAT Michael Jordan's commitment to his team due to his late nights in Atlantic City. The rest is history. The Bulls woke up and struck the Knicks for 4 straight losses. Ultimately, the Knicks would make the NBA Finals the very next season. But there's something about this Knicks team lately that just seems a little different. And I question and pray and hope, is this the team that could be the Knicks team of destiny? They have not raised a banner since 1973. So this is very exciting. But, the Knicks have to play their game. They have to stay within themselves. And you have to make the assumption that the Boston Celtics are going to start shooting the ball better. They won a championship based on their style that actually prohibited them from winning games 1 and 2. So definitely not taking any of this lightly, as we already have seen in a pivotal game 3 in Indiana. Donovan Mitchell went off, as after the first quarter, the Cleveland Cavaliers changed their defensive scheme and just really took it to the Indiana Pacers. And now that's a series again, and that's something the Knicks want to avoid. Because if you lose today, the pressure goes right back on the New York Knicks, and it's something that they most definitely don't want to go down like that. But it goes without saying that I would have to say the two key matchups in this thing: Jalen Brown, Jalen Brunson, the 2 point guards. They're going to go at it. I actually thought that Jalen Brown played really well and really deliberate in game two, just trying to get to the rack, trying to initiate fouls, just a north south kind of approach. Brunson, on the other hand, his shot was erratic. He was off. His shot was not good in game two, but he did enough to adjust and create opportunities for all his teammates. Deuce McBride came off the bench with a spark. Josh Hart had his best game, in my opinion, of these playoffs offensively. And Karl Anthony Towns did what he does, which is consistently get double doubles. Of course, the Mitchell Robinson thing is going to continue to be something that the Knicks are probably a little leery of with his horrendous free throw shooting. He is single handedly the reason why the Knicks are shooting in the 60 percentile range from the field, excuse me, from the free throw line. But his defense and his extra efforts have been worth keeping him on the court. So I think you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Mitch. But I really like the Knicks' chances here. I really do like the Knicks' chances. I have been doing something slightly on purpose, constantly picking the Boston Celtics in every game. I'm up to something, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But today is going to be an electric atmosphere at Madison Square Garden, and I cannot wait until tip off at 3:30 Eastern Time. I am stoked. Denver Nuggets, huge victory in their pivotal game three as they now take a 2-1 series lead over the one-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. And I must say, you don't want to look ahead and you don't want to start thinking too far ahead, but the New York Knicks, in terms of if they get the clearest path to the finals, things are somewhat working out. Indy's currently in the lead over Cleveland. You ask any Knick fan who you'd rather play, of course that's going to be Indy, not to mention we got revenge on the mind. And personally, um, I believe that the Knicks match up much better with Minnesota and Denver than they do with OKC. I'm not trying to just put the Warriors away, but without Steph Curry's services for at least a week, I don't think the Warriors are going to be able to survive without him. But I would love to see the Nova Knicks all in the finals. It would be really cool to see Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle playing their old team. I'm very proud of what they've been able to accomplish. Neither one of those players wanted to be traded out of New York. They love the Knicks, but it's a business and things happen. I still think that there might be a DiVincenzo reunion on the horizon after next season, but we'll see how that plays out. The newest Nova Nick, Mikal Bridges, has just been awesome. He has been clutch. He has been what the Knicks were hoping they got when they made the deal with Brooklyn. And of course, as many of you know, the Knicks only have one draft pick in this coming NBA draft, so they're going all in to win it this year. But the Knicks' window to win, I've said it on previous shows, I say within the next 4 years is their window. I really like what I'm seeing out of them, and I expect a legitimate war at Madison Square Garden. Cool little side note: we have a new pope, and he is an alum of Villanova, and he has said that he has been keeping a watchful eye on the Nova Knicks over the course of the past 3 years. And at the sake of being moderately humorous, Coach Tom Thibodeau said that with the new pope in, the Nova Knicks have been forgiven for their previous sins. And I must admit, when you wait this long, and in my case, an entire lifetime to see the Knicks win the championship, I will take help on any level that it comes through. And if it's divine intervention, so be it. Because I am not above praying for a Knicks championship. It is the one New York team I root for that I have not had the pleasure of seeing win a championship. My Rangers in 94 co-highlighted MSG's crazy week and a half as they defeated the Vancouver Canucks in the Stanley Cup Finals that year. Knicks fell short to the Rockets in 7. My first Yankee championship was 1996. The year I was born, they got beaten and defeated and battered by the Los Angeles Dodgers. My New York Giants have won multiple Super Bowls in my lifetime, most recently 2011. The first one that I was old enough to remember was 1990. I was too young to remember the 86 season. I've revisited it many times. And of course, the one giant upset, which in my opinion is the greatest upset in the history of the NFL. And if we're going to compare it to something, you would probably have to go all the way back to Super Bowl III with Broadway Joe's New York Jets. But it seems like the Pope likes the Knicks, and I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. New York Rangers new coach Mike Sullivan. I liked his initial presser. I think that he's the right man for the job. I give thanks to Peter Laviolette. Mixed bag. Terrific season year one. Year two, it just seemed like the league really caught up to the Rangers after they had that terrific President's Trophy first year. But I look for the Rangers to make some legitimate moves this coming season if the core of the team is not performing. And there are certain fan favorites that I absolutely love, from Panarin to Zibanejad, amongst others. But one thing I think that's happening with this new regime is that they are not going to accept complacency and mediocrity. So I do expect the New York Rangers to be swift with roster overturn if things do not get better in the 2025-26 campaign. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction the New York Rangers go in. But things change quick in the National Hockey League, and having the best record has been a curse for pretty much everyone. So very interested in seeing how all of that is going to pan out. Closing thought. I'm frustrated with Canelo Alvarez for constantly avoiding David Benavidez. I think it's the fight that fight fans deserve, but unfortunately, it's not one that we're going to get. And when I consider that Money Mayweather gave Canelo an opportunity when he was a young fighter, I think it's wrong of Canelo to not give it back, to not bring it back. Just my personal opinion. And I think that top contenders in the world of boxing avoiding their most feared contender, so to speak, their most dangerous contender, is something that legitimately has hurt boxing. It's not good for the sport nor the fight fans when you're handpicking opponents. Now, by no means am I saying that the upcoming Canelo fight is not a threat. It's just that I think Benavidez is the most qualified to put Canelo down, and it is rather unfortunate that there keeps it just seems like a carousel of handpicking, which I truly, truly just do not go for. Early thoughts in the major league season. Another closing thought that I have. I understand that John Henry met with Rafael Devers, third baseman turned designated hitter for the Boston Red Sox. He was recently asked to fill in at third base with the injury to Tristan Casas. He basically just said, no, I've already adjusted enough becoming a DH. And this is another thing that's wrong with certain athletes in MLB. You take a guy like Aaron Judge, who's naturally a right fielder and the occasional DH, who for the better part of two seasons man down center field, whether it was injuries to Harrison Bader, a guy like Jason Dominguez not quite being ready, Trent Grisham not being an everyday player. The point is that Aaron Judge has done anything under the sun that was asked by his manager, Aaron Boone. And when you look at the Red Sox making a quality pickup and bringing in a guy like an Alex Bregman and pairing him with Devers and, really fortifying that lineup in a better way, and you have an old school manager who, although I don't like, I do genuinely respect his baseball acumen in Alex Cora. I think it's really unfortunate that you have such a selfish natured player on your team. Even a guy like Big Poppy, who was the furthest thing from anybody good with the leather, did what was asked of him. And in the old interleague games, because the DH did not exist in interleague games if you were on the road as an American League team, He played first. He did what he had to do. So it's very unfortunate that Devers has taken such a selfish approach. And he initially didn't want to leave third when it was clear and concise that Alex Bregman is the superior option at that position. Alex Rodriguez showed a lot of unselfishness, although he gets a lot of flack for his steroid usage, the PED suspensions, and sometimes from people from the outside saying he wasn't a good teammate. But when Alex Rodriguez was possibly a better defensive shortstop and possibly had better range than the incumbent captain Derek Jeter, he did what was best for the team. He slid over to third base, and he did not have to do that because he was probably the best shortstop in Major League Baseball at the time. And these are the kind of selfish things that I see with certain players that ultimately I think become problematic and, dare I say, cancerous in locker rooms. That's why Aaron Judge is in a class all by himself, and players like Aaron Judge are few and far between. I think part of being a professional is being flexible. I have no bad for Giancarlo Stanton, although I think that contract is an albatross, and I think that he has really been a clog in the lineup when healthy because of the fact that he doesn't offer anything other than being a DH. But one thing I will give Stanton credit for is that he has always taken the heat with grace when New York fans get on him. And it also helps when you're putting up Reggie Jackson like performances in October. But get at me in the comments. Let me know what you guys and girls think about my take on Rafael Devers. Drop me a line. Let me know who you think is going to win this pivotal game 3 in the NBA between the Celtics and Knicks. And let me know if you think the Indiana Pacers, the Golden State Warriors, teams that are lost to pivotal game 3s are going to respond. Is OKC in for another disappointing finish after being the 1 seed? These are all questions that are going to be answered in the next week or so in the National Basketball Association. Until next time, I am Richie. Please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Final thought, uh, friend of the show, Idris's daughter, sadly lost an awful lot in a fire which took her apartment building down. She is a former military service member and just a great person. I'm going to be posting on my socials the GoFundMe that was started by Idris. I know that times are hard, especially in this economy, but if anyone is capable of making even the smallest of a donation, every bit counts as this young woman tries to recapture the fundamental stuff to just get her life back in order. You know, things that we all take for granted, and it could happen to any one of us. So I humbly, politely ask you guys to donate. I will be sharing that on my social media accounts, predominantly Facebook. But if anybody has anything to give, it would truly be appreciated. And like I said, sometimes we all need help, and you never know when life's going to hit you with a really unfair curveball. But until next time, I am Richie. I wish you guys a great weekend. And one more final thought. Eunice de Jesus Acevedo, my mama. I'm going to be watching the Knicks game with her today. She is one of the people that I predominantly watched the Knicks games with in the 1990s. I remember the iconic Game 7 with the Pacers and Knicks. Patrick Ewing coming up big, finally getting over the hump, getting to the finals. That was actually the day that I did my confirmation. We had a huge party in Queens, watched the game. Um, I just want to say my mother is amazing. She's transitioned from being mother of 3 to myself, Adam, and Nicole to being the best grandma in the world to Ava, Aiden, and my boy Noah. My mother is truly, truly one of the most unselfish people that I have ever had the pleasure of knowing on this planet. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that I am so very thankful that I still have my mother. She doesn't have hers, and I know that that's something that definitely weighs on her. So if you are lucky enough and fortunate enough to still have your moms, let them know how special they are. If things if things aren't the best, make sure that you make them better because we only get one mom and it all starts with the moms. There is no life without the moms. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining.